Namo Adidafa. Good morning. Thanks for joining me for our daily practice check-in. Listen, listen, listen. This beautiful sound calls us back to our true home. The first mindfulness training. Aware of the suffering caused by the destruction of life, I vow to cultivate compassion and learn ways to protect the lives of people, animals, plants, and minerals. I'm determined not to kill, not to let others kill, and not to condone any act of killing in the world, in my thinking, or in my way of life. For Dharma lessons, we're reading Ajahn Chah's book, Everything is Teaching Us. This morning we're continuing in a talk called Wholehearted Training. I'd like to remind you all of the need for having a good mind and living your lives in an ethical way. However you may have been doing things up to now, you should take a close look and see whether that is good or not. If you've been following wrong ways, give them up. Give up wrong livelihood. Earn your living in a good and decent way that doesn't harm others and doesn't harm yourself or society. When you practice right livelihood, then you can live with a comfortable mind. We monks and nuns rely on the lay people for all our material needs. And we rely on contemplation so that we are able to explain the Dharma to the lay people for their own understanding and benefit, enabling them to improve their lives. You can learn to recognize and remove whatever causes misery and conflict. Make efforts to get along with each other, to have harmony in your relations rather than exploiting or harming each other. These days things are pretty bad. It's hard for folks to get along. Even when a few people get together for a little meeting, it doesn't work out. They just look at each other's faces 3 times and they're ready to start killing each other. Why is it like this? It's only because people have no sila or dharma in their lives. In the time of our parents, it was a lot different. Just the way people looked at each other showed that they felt love and friendship. It's not anything like that now. If a stranger shows up in the village as evening comes, everyone will be suspicious. What's he doing coming here at night? Why should we be afraid of a person coming into the village? If a strange dog comes into the village, nobody will give it a second thought. So is a person worse than a dog? It's an outsider, a strange person. How can anyone be an outsider? When someone comes to the village, we ought to be glad. They are in need of shelter, so they can stay with us and we can take care of them and help them out. We will have some company. But nowadays, there's no tradition of hospitality and goodwill anymore. There's only fear and suspicion. In some villages, I'd say there aren't any people left. There are only animals. There's suspicion about everything, possessiveness over every bush and every inch of ground, just because there is no morality, no spirituality. When there is no sila and no dharma, then we live lives of unease and paranoia. People go to sleep at night and soon they wake up worrying about what's going on or about some sound they heard. People in the villages don't get along or trust each other. Parents and children don't trust each other. Husband and wife don't trust each other. What's going on? All of this is the result of being far from the Dharma and living lives bereft of Dharma. So everywhere you look, it's like this, and life is hard. If a few people show up in the village and request shelter for the night now, they're told to go and find a hotel. Everything is business now. In the past, no one would think of sending them away like that. The whole village would join in showing hospitality. People would go and invite their neighbors and everyone would bring food and drink to share with the guests. Now that can't be done. After people eat their dinner, they lock their doors. Wherever we look in the world now, this is the way things are going. It means that the non-spiritual is proliferating and taking over. We are generally not very happy, and we don't trust anyone very much. Some people even kill their parents now. Husbands and wives may cut each other's throats. There's a lot of pain in society, and it's simply because of this lack of sila and dharma. So please try to understand this, and don't discard the principles of virtue. With virtue and spirituality, human life can be happy. Without them, we become like animals. May all beings be well. May all beings be happy. May all beings be peaceful. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thanks so much for joining me today.